Opinion: how India can expand its influence within BIMSTEC and beyond. While India's development assistance has increased under PM Modi, it must be competitive, attractive, and aspirational to counter other development finances circulating in the region at a time of escalating global governance crises, encompassing environmental, geopolitical, and economic uncertainties. All eyes are on the 6th Summit of the Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation BIMSTEC. April 34 in Bangkok, Thailand. Consequently, the Ministry of External Affairs (MAA) in India is fully engaged in efforts to ensure, or at least argue, that the summit's outcomes, particularly a cooperation framework on maritime transport, favor India. Recognizing the oceans as the next frontier, can India maintain its influence within this intergovernmental forum for regional integration? Undoubtedly, the South Asia-Southeast Asia interconnections and interdependencies represented in BIMSTEC, comprising 5 South Asian and 2 Southeast Asian members, heavily rely on access to and management of the Bay of Bengal. There is speculation that the summit could invigorate BIMSTEC, establishing it as the most influential and primary regional platform for cooperation in the Bay of Bengal. However, last week, during his inaugural foreign visit to China, the chief advisor of Bangladesh's interim regime made a calculated, calibrated, and unsettling diplomatic overture. He enticed China with promises of substantial development aid and investments in Bangladesh, contending that India's 7 northeastern states are landlocked. The chief advisor's assertion to China that Bangladesh is the only gateway for China to the Bay of Bengal appears to contradict the charter of BIMSTEC, adopted virtually during the 5th summit in Colombo in 2022. In response, before departing for the Bangkok summit and a bilateral meeting with his Thai counterpart, Prime Minister Narendra Modi issued a direct statement regarding India's northeast, stating that with its geographical location, India's northeastern region lies at the heart of BIMSTEC. For a decade, India has championed BIMSTEC as a forward-looking economic and technical group within the South Asia region, prioritizing it over the less active South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation (SAARC). Despite both SAARC and BIMSTEC being managed under the same department within India's MAA, the emphasis has been on BIMSTEC to better serve India's national interests. While Pakistan was seen as responsible for SAARC's decline, Bangladesh, under its current unelected and unrepresentative interim administration, appears to be creating divisions within the group. While Bangladesh, under an elected government, has the right to engage in and pursue an independent foreign policy, the timing of this visit and the nature of engagement aimed at appeasing the Chinese leadership are ill-advised. Nan merely criticizing the West or Western media regarding so-called geopolitics or world affairs does not serve India's interests in the neighborhood. An aggressive interim government, so-called, has been in place in Bangladesh. During parliament sessions, all seems well with India's foreign policy towards its neighbors. Pragmatically, India's relations with its immediate neighbors depend not on the total diplomacy of the MAA, but on the presence of pro-India governments across its borders. Simply put, the success or failure of India's neighborhood policy hinges on which governments are elected or selected in neighboring countries. Have any neighboring countries proactively worked to secure India's strategic interests? Most BIMSTEC or SAARC member countries are busy courting China, despite the knowledge that fragile and highly volatile Chinese investments are often a debt trap. With Sri Lanka, Thailand, Nepal, Myanmar, and Bangladesh grappling with internal political instability, how can a stable India under Prime Minister Modi's leadership ensure stability and growth in the region? BIMSTEC may not be the sole avenue for realizing neighborhood first or Act East. India's unilateral interventions in the Bay of Bengal could enhance regional growth and integration. However, as a leading contributor to the BIMSTEC Secretariat's expenses, India steers regional cooperation in security, energy, and disaster management. While hosting 2 BIMSTEC centers, the Center for Weather and Climate and the Energy Center, India has proposed 3 centers of excellence in agriculture, disaster management, and maritime transport. Expectations from the Bangkok summit may be limited. Bangladesh, in all likelihood, might hinder the grand vision of regional connectivity and economic cooperation, particularly regarding the adoption of the BIMSTEC Vision 2030 strategy. Under Dhaka's forthcoming chairmanship, consensus building on maritime connectivity in the Bay of Bengal could be slow and challenging, given that an external actor, China, has already been courted. India must be prepared to navigate such disruptions. India's northeast region, as a crucial connectivity hub between South Asia and Southeast Asia, is emerging as the next diplomatic hotspot. While hoping for the adoption of a maritime transport agreement, if it even materializes, India must expedite its interventions through development partnerships and assistance within BIMSTEC. While India's development assistance has increased under PM Modi, it must be competitive, attractive, and aspirational to counter other development finances circulating in the region. Sustainable financial aid is always preferable to commercially unviable, unsustainable, and debt-ridden investments. It is evident that development assistance or aid is not charity. Consider USAID as an example. Nevertheless, India maintains a commendable approach to development partnerships based on consultative, non-reciprocal, performance-based, people-centric, mutually beneficial, and accountable assistance. India's development partnership is founded on the principles of respect, dialogue, peace, and prosperity. Did the chief advisor consult with or inform civil society organizations, his supposed primary constituencies, before approaching China for large-scale investments in Bangladesh? Has this interim government not learned from Chinese investments or Belt and Road Initiative BRI projects in other neighboring countries? If Bangladesh seeks easy money without considering the potential compromise of its sovereignty, environmental impact, and lack of accountability to its citizens, it would be a disservice to the aspirations of Bangladeshi youth. It is abundantly clear that India's northeast region has been integral to the success of regionalism in South Asia, whether through SAARC, BIMSTEC, or the Ganga-Mekong cooperation. Bangladesh has already initiated a diplomatic maneuver by signing a water information sharing agreement on the Brahmaputra River with China, declaring northeast India landlocked, and inviting 50 years of Chinese involvement in water management. India must be prepared to address such neighborhood challenges until a legitimate government is established in Dhaka. Dr. Avinash Roel, International Advisor on Transboundary Water and Climate Change Risk, is a senior fellow at the Society for the Study of Peace and Conflict SSPC, a Delhi-based think tank. Views expressed are personal and solely those of the author and do not necessarily reflect the views of News 18.nan.